La paz del Señor esté con cada uno de ustedes. Muchas bendiciones, hermanos católicos y amigos. Mi nombre es Oscar. Gracias por escucharnos por este canal. Defiende tu fe católico. Invitándote a que puedas suscribirte a nuestro canal. Y a los que aún no se han suscrito, los invito a que lo hagan. También dale like al video para que YouTube lo pueda recomendar a muchas personas. Bueno, hermano, te invito a que hagamos esta oración. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia. El Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros, pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. En nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Amén. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, hermanos católicos. Bueno, estamos con otro tema más.
Identify tolerance with indifference to right and wrong. He will foster more divorces under the disguise that another partner is vital. He will increase love for love and decrease love for person. He will invoke religion to destroy religion. He will even speak of Christ and say that he was the greatest man who ever lived. His mission, he will say, will be to liberate men from the servitude of superstition and practices, which he will never define. But in the midst of all his seeming love for humanity, his big talk of freedom and equality, he will have one great secret, which he will tell no one. He will not speak no one. Because his religion will be brotherhood without being father or God, he will deceive set up a counter church, which will be the aim of the church because he, the devil, is gold. It will be the mystical body of the Antichrist, will in all external resemble the church as the mystical body of Christ. In desperate need for God, he will induce modern man in his loneliness and frustration to hunger more and more for membership in his community. It will give man enlargement of purpose without any need of personal amendment and without the admission of personal guilt. These are days in which the devil has been given a particularly long road. Evil hour, when the shepherd may be struck and the sheep dispersed. Has the church made preparations for just such a dark night in the decree of the Holy Father outlining the conditions on which a papal election may now be held outside of the city of Rome. Men who know history have seen these dark days coming too. 105 years ago, the German poet wrote, "Communism, though little discussed now and loitering in hidden garrets on miserable straw pallets, is the dark hero destined for a great if temporary role in the modern tragedy. While gloomy times are roaring toward us, and the prophet wishing to write a new apocalypse would have to invent entirely new beasts so terrible that St. John's older animals would be like gentle doves and Cupid in comparison. The gods are veiling their faces in pity on the children of men, their long-time targets. The future smells of Russian leather, blood, godlessness, and many whippings. And I should advise our grandchildren to be born with very thick skins on their backs." Remarriage. There are not wanting so-called Catholic labor leaders recommending communists for Congress, or Catholic writers who accept presidencies in communist front organizations to instill totalitarian ideas into movies. There's no longer the conflict and the opposition which ought to characterize us. We are influencing the world less than the world influences us. There is no apartness. We who were sent out to establish a center of health have caught the disease, and therefore have lost the power to heal. And since the gold is mixed with an alloy, the entirety must be thrust into the furnace, that the dross may be burned away. The value of the trial will be to set us apart. Evil catastrophe must come, to reject us, to despise us, to hate us, to persecute us. Then we shall define our loyalties, affirm our fidelities, and state on whose side we stand. Our quantity indeed will decrease, but our quality will increase. It is not for the church that we fear, but for the world. We tremble not that God may be dethroned, but that barbarism may reign. 3 practical suggestions then for the times, as Christians realize that a moment of crisis is not a time of despair, but of opportunity. We were born in crisis, in defeat, crucifixion. Once we recognize that we are under divine wrath, we become eligible for divine mercy. The very disciplines of God create hope. The thief on the right came to God by a crucifixion. And secondly, Catholics ought to stir up their faith. Hang a crucifix in their home. Remind them that they have a cross to carry. Recite the rosary. Go to daily mass. Make the holy hour daily in the presence of our Eucharistic Lord. Protestants, Catholics, Americans, all of us must realize that the world is summoning us to heroic efforts at spiritualization. It is not a unity of religion we plead, for that is impossible when purchased at the cost of the unity of truth, but a unity of religious people, wherein each marches separately according to the light of his conscience, but strikes together for the moral betterment of the world. The forces of evil are united. The forces of good are divided. We may not be able to meet in the same pew, but to God that we give, but we can meet on our knees. You may be very sure that no sordid compromises nor carrying of waters on both shoulders will see you through. Those who have the faith had better keep in the state of grace. And those who have neither had better begin to find out what they mean. For in the coming age, there will be only one way to stop your trembling knees, and that will be to get down on them and pray. Pray to Michael. Michael, the prince of the morning who conquered Lucifer would make himself a god. When the world once cracked because of a sneer in heaven, he rose up and dragged down from the seven heavens the pride that would look down on the Most High. Pray too. Pray to Our Lady. Say to her it was to thee, was given the power to crush the head of the serpent who lied to men that they would be like unto gods. And mayest thou, who didst find Christ when he was lost for 3 days, find him again for our world that has lost him. Give to the senile incontinence of our verbiage the word. And as thou didst form the word in thy womb, form him in our own hearts.
No te olvides de suscribirte a nuestro canal. Dale like al video para que YouTube lo pueda recomendar a otras personas y activa la campanita de notificaciones. Deja tus comentarios y nos vemos en un próximo video. Bendiciones.